There are many forms of escape, but none so noble as the one that leads you closer to the earth. She disappeared from the city without warning. No farewell post, no dramatic goodbye. Only the whisper of forest winds now know her story. They say she became a hermit, but not the kind that holds soup cans or speaks to walls. This one tends to cows at dawn, drinks porridge with a greedy dog, and holds silent therapy sessions under trees older than the internet. And somehow, she makes it all feel like poetry. This is the diary of a modern hermit, where oat storms are real, dogs are dramatic, and healing looks like laughing mid-rant in the forest with no one to interrupt you. If you have ever craved peace with a plot twist, keep watching. It is a curious thing to wake without a war drum in one's ears. Not a single shrek of an alarm clock, not a reminder to submit, show up, log in, or behave. I simply woke, not in a rush, not in panic, but like bread rising in its own time. My mornings no longer begin with caffeine-charged dread or blue light scrolling. They begin with hooves, mooing, grumbling, life. The sort that munches loudly and expects you to supervise breakfast. Yes, I live among beasts now. Cows, chickens, dogs, and my cat. They form my council of morning advisors. My duty? To feed, to lead them to pasture, and to listen as they express their grievances in mows and snorts. This is the life of a modern day hermit, not the wrinkled sage of the mountains, but a girl with calloused hands and romantic delusions, trading group chats for goat pens. Once, the word hermit brought to mind an old man with a long white beard, dwelling in a mountain cave, speaking to lizards and surviving solely on roots, dried apples, and wild regret. He renounced society, they said. He gave up the warmth of human chatter in favor of wind whispers and spiritual clarity. They say a hermit is one who withdraws from society to live in solitude, often for spiritual reasons. Back then, hermits would dwell in woods, clad in woolen cloaks, feed on roots, meditate for days, their silence mistaken for madness or sainthood. But I believe there is a new breed among us now, the modern day hermit. She is neither monk nor mad woman. She is merely tired. Tired of chaos disguised as productivity. Tired of small talks that takes up large space. Tired of a world that screams when silence could heal. But I dare say, the modern hermit brews her tea on a charcoal stove, holds silent conversations with the sky, and vents to trees like they are licensed therapists. She, dear viewer, is me. I may not be fasting or chanting, but I am retreating from noise, from nonsense, from the expectations that squeeze the soul until it forgets it ever had one. Hello, good morning. You want to eat my fingers? You want to bite on my fingers? Hello, mister. This morning, I ventured into the forest with nothing but warm porridge and a greedy dog. She thinks she owns the land, the trees, and apparently, my breakfast. Every spoonful was a negotiation. Her eyes fixed like a debt collector. And in that sacred moment of shared porridge and birdsong, with my dog drooling beside me, I did what any hermit does. I vented. For what is the use of solitude if not for personal opinion? I spoke to the trees, which, unlike people, never interrupt. I told them of this strange world we live in, where joy passes like wind, but sorrow is given 456 business days to process, package, and label with a tracking number. We do not celebrate enough. We don't even breathe properly when things go well. But grief we marinate in like a Sunday roast. They say therapy is expensive. I say the forest charges in mosquitoes, not money.
It's about 11 degrees or even lower. The last time I checked, it was around 11 degrees. It is cold, but do you know something? The air here is so crisp. It is so fresh. Oh my god. I don't know. I might catch a cold, but it is worth it. Breakfast in the midst of trees with crisp air. With my doggy dog. Doggy doggy. I really do love it here though. And it is it crazy, or which word should I use? How, I guess, astonishing how one day, it is astonishing how one day you are feeling low, you feel like you hate your life, like you are not doing enough, and the next day life is worth living. And the other day I was taking a psychological test, and I remember there was this question about, do you feel like was it successful or a failure? And I remember I was thinking to myself, like, I don't see myself as a failure, but the thing is, I think we are conditioned to ride more in the sorrow when your life is sorrowful and stuff. Like, you can stay there for months or weeks thinking about how bad your life is generally, and you are celebrating something that took years or even months or weeks for that day to come. And you just take maybe a day or two to soak it in, and that's it. But when it comes to the bad days and bad times, when bad things happens to you, you soak in the sadness and the sorrow for days, weeks, months, and we are like almost unable to let go. And I think that is something that I am really struggling to unlearn. I want to soak in the good days or the still days more, and learn to let go of the bad things, or the bad energy quick, if I can. And I know I can. It is just the conditioning of the society, because even the good times or the good things when they happen to you, we are not encouraged to talk about them, especially here in Africa, because you are told about, oh, evil people, bad eye, it is bragging, it is what. Yeah, when you again talk about the bad things, it is kind of not weird, but again it is also almost bad to be vulnerable, because why are you not moving past whatever it is happening to you? And I don't know. And also yesterday I bumped into a creator that I love so much, and she was talking about the same thing, how we are conditioned to overly stay there in the mud, in the sorrow, in the whatever. But when it comes to the highs, just look at the comment section of someone who is posting about good news and stuff. Oh, you are bragging, oh, what? And even the positive comments, they are backhanded ones. They are not like, you can literally count people that are genuinely happy for that person without projecting their depressive life to that particular person. And I don't know why it is. Okay, I think I know, because especially religion here in Africa, we are taught to romanticize sorrow, suffering, poverty, and everything else. And there is this notion that is sold to people that successful people won't go to heaven and stuff. I don't know why though. But yeah, and poverty is kind of romanticized, because when you are poor, you will see the Lord. And I know the Bible talks about poor, those that are poor in the heart, not actually like physical or material possession. But that is, you tend to find that those are the bits that African people really.
Now, this day in question was no ordinary one. It was an adventure. My little forest adventure led me down a stream like some barefoot explorer in a fairy tale with budget cats. I followed a stream, babbling, unbothered, completely off schedule, with no aim except to see where it ended. My loyal dog, galloping ahead like a soldier returning from war, led the expedition. If there were awards for enthusiasm, he'd win a Nobel. If there were awards for ignoring commands, he'd win too. Hi. My mother, ever the sport, played the role of the unseen videographer. Whether we include her credit in this film is a matter for the editing gods. But let it be said, the framing was suspiciously perfect. This life is not for everyone. Let us be honest. The disadvantages? Your eyebrows may go weeks without grooming. You talk to animals more than humans, and sometimes they walk away mid convo. Dates are rare unless you count the kind that grows on palm trees. And fashion? Half the time I look like a misplaced Jane Austen character who fell into a compost pit. The work is never truly done. The animals do not know it's Sunday. The oat does not care about your crumbs. Loneliness can sneak in like smoke, soft, slow, and hard to explain. Also, the Wi Fi. Need I say more? But the advantages? Let's talk about them. I rise with the sun, not the sirens. My spirit no longer whispers, it sings. Every day is a poem waiting to be written, even if it smells like cow dung. I live quietly but deeply, alone but not lonely. One sleeps soundly, for there are no late night emails from one's boss. Your therapist is a tree, your to do list is the weather, and your soulmate may be your dog. No traffic unless a cow decides to nap on the path, and even then, she is polite about it. We traced the stream until it emptied into a dam, a vast, breathing bowl of memory. It was the sort of place where thoughts go to lie down and never return. Yet, for all its quirks, I would not trade this life. To live close to the ground is to remember you are not above it. To spend time with animals is to unlearn performance. To eat porridge under trees is to taste simplicity and not apologize for it. So, if you see a girl walking barefoot beside a river or a dam, talking to a dog covered in oat dust and smiling at nothing in particular, do not worry, she has not lost her mind. She may, in fact, have finally found it. The truth is, being a modern hermit is not an escape, it is a return to rhythm and to meaning, to the kind of living that doesn't need applause to feel valid. Mm. But do not be deceived by the serenity. This hermit's day is not all whimsy and wandering. At some point, I remembered the oat, the sacred oat, laid out to dry like royal laundry. And as all adventures must end, so did this one, with a return to duty. The oat, which had been out sun-drying in neat golden heaps, suddenly stood threatened by clouds that bore the mood of a tired teacher, ready to punish at will. The sky turned vengeful, clouds gathering like nosy aunties. If the oat get rained on, it would rot, and rotten oat smells like betrayal. And so, a good neighbor joined me, a kind soul, with more strength than complaints. And together, we scooped the oat into heaps and covered them in polythene before the heavens could strike. Should the oat be rained upon, it would spoil, and then the animals would not eat, and then the chickens would revolt, and then, well, you see the problem.
Few minutes later,